Hello and welcome to this edition of Northwest Profiles. I'm your host, Lynn Veltri, and with spring now in full bloom, we invite you to relax and enjoy another fabulous assortment of stories about some of the creative and colorful personalities we live with here in the Pacific Northwest. So let's get ready to meet them, shall we? For our first story, we had a chance to check out a unique business in downtown Spokane, where people are given a chance to unwind a bit by literally giving them sharp objects to throw. Sounds like good fun to me.
The abrupt sound of metal to wood, occurring over and over. Activity inside Spokane's Jumping Jackalope Axe Throwing Company is vibrant, centering around throwing sharp objects at a lumber-faced wall with a large target painted on it. The owner and chief axe thrower here, a Venezuelan-born axe-throwing champion, counts himself fortunate to have discovered a vocation that he most certainly loves.
My name is Miguel Taburini. I'm the owner of the Jumping Jackalope Axe Throwing Company, and this right here is my dream come true. My little axe throwing house. Why do I love axe throwing? The community, definitely. It's such a wonderful, beautiful, inclusive community. I got obsessed with it, and I love the inclusion. And it meant so much to me when I was here as an immigrant. It's difficult to meet new people, and to belong to an axe throwing league gives you a family, even if you don't want it. And this is a family that we call it the axe fam, and they help you when you need to move. They bring you chicken soup when you're sick, and that community, that sense of community, is what made me fall in love with the sport. And that's the reason why I kept digging and digging to try to become the best axe thrower, the best axe throwing coach, and the best axe throwing venue owner.
Arriving from Venezuela in 2013, Miguel set his roots in Oklahoma, and a few years ago, he catapulted into his current profession.
I saw a place called Godwood Axe Throwing, and I'm like, axe throwing? I gotta try that. That sounds like something that I need to do today. So I went there, and I had the greatest experience. And then I just started realizing that every single time that I go throwing, a weight was lifted out of my shoulder. I felt like I was thinking clear. I realized that is pretty much like, not like therapy, but kind of stress relieving like.
After his stint in Oklahoma, he moved to the Pacific Northwest and started his own axe throwing company in Spokane.
We teach people how to throw axes. We also teach them how to throw knives, throwing stars, machetes, saw blades, tomahawks, big axes. Our standard is that we teach anybody how to stick the hatchet in the wall in 3 throws or less. This is something that you're doing with your hands. It's raw, smells, it feels good when you stick the hatchet at the wall. Safety is the most important thing, and that's our priority. I happen to be the only certified axe throwing coach trainer in America. I wrote the certification. So when you come to this facility, you know that you're gonna be in good hands.
Now, there's playing for fun, and there's playing for a major competition. By hosting the Jumping Jackalope Jamboree, a World Axe Throwing League sanctioned event, and drawing some of the best axe throwers in America, Miguel gave the Spokane area public a chance to watch some top-tier throwing.
Only has a ton of facilities around the world, and they throw 4 major tournaments during the year, and this is one of the major tournaments. And I decided to take on that task because I know that the West Coast needs that.
By breaking into the WATL League after its inception in 2017 and subsequently winning numerous titles in the last 2 years, Taburini has been rated #1 in the world twice, coupled with being an 8-time regional champion, and has used his technique to make his mark in this up-and-coming sport.
My particular type of throw, I created a process in which I need to be comfortable and balanced, and then I breathe, and then I make sure that whenever I feel it, that is the right moment, that's when I throw, and I feel good about that throw. The target doesn't mind your color of skin, the target doesn't mind your political position. As long as you can throw a hatchet at 12 feet and stick it in the wall, you're fair game. A lot of people say, oh, I won't ever be able to do that. But when they come in here, we explain to them that it's not about power, it's about finesse and momentum. Most importantly, I get to teach people how to throw every day. And that's where it's at for me.
It's good to know that the art of axe throwing isn't confined to just lumber camps or country fairs. It looks like a great way to work off some stress. Moving on, as we see our world opening up again after the pandemic, one of the most exciting changes will be in Spokane's live theater venues. One of these vital places is Stage Left Theater, a little yet powerful company whose mission is to challenge us, while giving us a laugh, a cry, and an opportunity to expand our social awareness.
I wake up with a smile on my face.
My name is Jeremy Whittington, and my title is Managing Artistic Director here at Stage Left Theater.
I can't stop this feeling. It's one of a kind.
It is the In the Northwest's premier progressive nonprofit theater.
Unable to move one way or
We pride ourselves on doing the edgier shows that a lot of theaters don't touch in the area.
It will shout in exquisite excitement. It will vibrate.
We do political plays, we do plays about feminism, LGBTQ rights, we do racially charged plays.
I began beating him. I'm spy.
I started this position January of 2020, so right before COVID hit.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention.
Our mission here is to lift marginalized voices in our community and tell stories that bring to light issues that might not otherwise be touched upon in storytelling in the local theater region.
Will be to stand and face the face that I do wear with fear and disdain.
When I first came onto this position and met with the board of directors, I told them that we need to always institute our mission into everything that we do. And we can't bastardize our principles in any way. We can't veer off and do something fluffy that doesn't fit into our mission statement. And that's what's going to really solidify us, I think, and has solidified us as the go-to theater for political statement, for women's rights, for raising the Latino and Black community in this town. And while it's difficult, it's definitely worth it. Back in 2011, the owner of the building and our current board president, Robert Nelson, decided to have a group of his senior friends get together and do a readers theater. And they were housed in various basements of churches and schools and things like that. They were doing a play reading in the basement of a church, and as the story goes, one of the deacons had walked by and heard some bad words come out of this script, and they were asked to leave the church. So Robert, being the irreverent person that he is, decided that he was going to build his own theater. So he bought this building here in downtown Spokane and gutted it. It was an old retail space, and turned it into a 70-seat theater that you see today. And it became Stage Left out of the necessity to kind of tell those stories that are a little left-leaning and a little progressive and a little in-your-face with their political statements. And that's kind of how this little theater formed.
My dear brother, dear to me, bitch that I am, vicious, scheming.
We're really trying to be an active presence in our community.
All the world to me as well thou knowest.
Not only does it follow our mission statement, but it lets other like-minded organizations know that they're not alone.
So much love you've given me, so much love.
Our programming definitely involves doing some mainstream shows that people might be aware of. When we do choose those mainstream shows, we try to pick shows that aren't necessarily telling somebody what they should think, but telling them that they should think.
But this, nobody deserves this. Nobody.
you'll walk out of the theater with conversations with the people that you sat next to. We're not trying to make anybody left-leaning. That's not the mission of this theater. And we've certainly done plays that explore what can be negative about the left, too. It's really about having conversations with people.
He will trust his wife. He will not be jealous.
Since we shut down, we've kind of had to pivot and dodge and come up with new ways to tell stories. And starting last August of 2020, we began streaming various festivals, if you will, that normally would happen on our stage.
Up next, it's a tale of triumph, of fire, and excitement.
We have Kids Corner, which is local scripts from first graders that actors would perform on our stage. Hi. And since we couldn't have the actors in here, obviously, we sent those scripts out and had the actors perform TikTok videos.
Dun, 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 dun,
that was our first foray into the streaming world.
And then an epic battle ensued.
And the face of Jesus speaks to her. The face of Jesus says, "Drop the plate." And the woman is frozen with fear. And again Jesus says, "Drop the plate." And the woman speaks. The woman says, "It's part of a set."
The last show that we did before closing for COVID was Lonely Planet by Stephen Dietz. And when we did that production, we knew we had something special on our hands, and we wanted to take that to state competition and then regional competition and hopefully nationals. And because COVID hit, the whole system of festival going got reworked, and it ended up being virtual. And so I submitted a 30-minute clip of that show, and we made it to the top 38 in the nation. And then all the judges voted again, and we made it to the top 12 in the nation. And just last week, they sent a film crew of Broadway filmmakers out here with their 6 HD cameras, and they filmed our 1-hour presentation for a national competition to the AACT Festival. We did the very best we could. The performances were fantastic. I designed the set for that. It's one of those sets that I got to walk away from knowing that I put everything that I had into it, and there's nothing I would have done differently.
Look around and see what's there. Smell the flowers, feel the air.
When I took this position at Stage Left Theater, I felt like I landed at home. The support that I had from the community has been overwhelming. The level of support, both financially and emotionally, that I personally have received and theater has received has just been a little overwhelming, really.
Don't be sad.
People love what we do here. There's this sense that Stage Left has been able to kind of be on the precipice of trying new things during this pandemic. We've done them and we failed and we've succeeded. But every time the community has really rallied around us and given us their full support. I think that everyone wants theater in this community to succeed. Whether it's here or Civic Theater or Lake City Playhouse or Ignite or Aspire or Blue Door Theater, all of these little components that make up the overall theater community of the Spokane region are really coming together in a way that I don't think I've seen anyway since I've lived in Spokane. And all our ships are rising. And I think that we're going to come out of the pandemic with new ideas, new partnerships, and new insights that are going to really help the arts just bump up to the next level in this area.
The competition with the AACT is like the Tony Awards of community theater. It began with 38 theater companies from across the country, and now it's down to only 12. With the winners to be announced this June. It's a special recognition to all the hardworking crew, performers, and volunteers that make Stage Left an important part of Spokane's artistic community. So break a leg and on with the show. Now let's stay in the world of the arts and move from the stage to the canvas and the creative work of an artist who describes himself as a sponge, meaning that he soaks up inspiration from everywhere. He creates intense images, and he wants to use them to bring communities together.
I do wordless narrative, visual narratives that challenge the written language.
Reinaldo Gil Zambrano, or RGZ for short, is a printmaker and a mural artist living in Spokane.
I just feel that printmaking is just this beautiful thing that empowers people because you get to draw on a piece of wood or metal, then you carve it so you become a sculptor. and then you basically ink it and print it, and it becomes better because it's more graphic and bulky, with this beautiful texture that is really hard to create with any other technique. So when you get that excited about this process, you just want to share it with other people. And when you do that, you see that they get really excited about it too. So it's a contagious thing.
Reinaldo was born in Caracas, Venezuela, where he discovered his deep love of art.
My parents were always very supportive of me in pursuit of my passion for art. They even allow me to paint and draw on the wall next to my bed. And I'm very, I don't like that wall at all, but they say, well, come by and paint it again, you know? I say this a lot, but I was getting ready to become a really bad architect because that was kind of like the thing that was related to art in Venezuela.
Reinaldo attended United World College in Costa Rica, where he veered away from architecture and fully into art. At the college, he connected with students from around the world.
I was fascinated with the idea of being in this environment where 72 different people from 60-something different countries, just live together. And it was amazing. It showed me, the diversity in people, but also all the similarities that we have. So I just grew up fascinated with the idea of getting to see more of the world.
Right about then, a recruiter from the College of Idaho near Boise offered Reinaldo a scholarship.
They saw my portfolio and they say, if you want to go to school with us, you have a full ride.
Reinaldo finished his education in the Northwest and now lives in Spokane. He freely shares his passion for creating images that challenge the written language.
With my experience that I found in Costa Rica, living in Costa Rica with all these people that speak so many languages, is that there is so many similarities that we have as humans, part of that collective consciousness that we should celebrate. So when you do artwork that have these visual narratives that doesn't have any writing in it, it allows also people to bring their own experiences and complete the story. So that's why we developed the Spokane Print Fest that has been happening for the last 2 years, where we bring different institutions, colleges, artists to somehow share their passion for printmaking with the rest of the community and show them what they're capable of doing. And it's amazing to see the students, being the instructors for their community.
Some of Reinaldo's art pieces can be very large, calling for extreme measures.
And we end up renting a steamroller and inviting all these different people from Pullman and from Moscow, and we printed together and it was great.
Like his college days in Costa Rica, Reinaldo was part of an important multicultural experience in Spokane. He was asked to create the letter M on the Black Lives Matter mural.
And yeah, I jump in and say, yeah, of course, I will definitely work on this. And it was the concept that they brought was beautiful, to somehow bring 16 different artists, from different ethnicities, pretty much coming together and working and collaborating to this massive piece that is actually one of the biggest murals in Spokane.
Reinaldo doesn't want to stop with that mural.
And I say that I am a full-time daydreamer. So walking around in the city, especially in downtown, I get to see this beautiful architecture that we have. But then so many possibilities because they're just pretty much walls that are high in elevated, but also they're pretty much, I call them canvases.
Reinaldo worked with another artist to create sample pictures to demonstrate what could be possible.
They are basically surfaces waiting for us to bring visual narratives into that area and activate them and make the city even more vibrant. So I know that people talk about Portland, this city that is pretty much creating all this beautiful art, Seattle, but we have the talent here. We just haven't really started activating these spaces. One thing that I really enjoy about this process is to bring other people together. So creating events, developing spaces like this one, and creating workshops and things that somehow like bring other people into the making process that I do is something that is really strong in my practice.
Reinaldo's imagery combines his Latin American heritage with the energy and people that surround him here in the Northwest. And although some of his artwork can seem dark, he says that it comes from a good place. For our last story, we'd like to pay tribute to the approaching Memorial Day holiday with a story about local veterans. We all know the road home for our returning veterans isn't always a smooth one. And for many, returning to the world they left behind seems like yet another battle. But in Spokane, an idea that offers hope and a new career path blossomed in our own backyard. And for some of our local veterans, it's become their way back home.
Been climbing a mountain and I don't know why, but I think it's time to come back down again and tend to my garden, see that it grows strong in my own garden, singing my own song.
I think it was 2013. I attended a film screening at the Spokane Community College. They had a veterans program there. And it was the depiction of this newest generation of veterans coming back and that transition and how difficult that can be for them sometimes, whether it's PTSD or just the transition itself. It's difficult for them to find their way again. And at the same time, our American agriculture, we have a dilemma going on in this country right now where the average age is 60 years old and we don't have the backfill of people coming into this as a profession or an occupation to be able to feed ourselves. So after the film, I literally walked out that day and thought, we have to do something. I have to find a way for the Spokane Conservation District to get involved.
Looking for answers way up in the sky.
Through conversations and connections, I met a couple other gals here in Spokane, and we put together what we thought was a model that we could start something.
See that it grows strong in my own garden.
First place was find farmers that would be interested in mentoring. So I went to a Farm Bureau meeting. I threw this crazy idea out there. Hey, I have this idea. And I had a family that the very next day after that presentation, they stepped up and they said, we have this little farmhouse and 3 acres of land and some equipment, and we believe in this program and we think there's something there and we're giving it to you. And they did.
In my own garden, in my own town.
I did 6 tours in the Middle East. I knew when I got back to Ritzville that I wanted to do some agriculture, but I just couldn't find my way. You always have a mission when you're in the military. You have a daily regiment that you do every day, every week, every month. There's always certain things that you need to be doing at certain times of the year or when you're getting ready to deploy. When you get out, you necessarily don't have that anymore. I don't want to say lost, but you're not sure which direction you're supposed to go into. So I had a hard time adjusting, finding something that filled all those voids.
So it's one more day in the garden.
Someone put it really well at one of our briefings that you spend however long you're in. So for me, it was 21 years in the Air Force. They teach you how to be an airman, how to do your job, how to be in the military. They don't spend one day teaching you how to be a civilian.
You know, your family is your family, but they don't really get it. Vets on the Farm to me is kind of my family. You know, in the military, that's kind of what you get when you go to a new base. You get kind of this ready-made family. You're not prepared for when you get back. And for me, Vets on the Farm was just kind of like finding my way back home again.
It used to be that there was downtime, there was, processing time, decompression. Now it's 18 hours, you're in Afghanistan, 18 hours later, you're home, here you go back to your real life. That's hard to do.
To get it right.
This type of activity has taken them from a destroyer mentality to a creator and a nurturer again. And when they can do that, there's healing in that. So to have something like this now for this newest generation of veteran, to be able to help them transition into that next mission has been so well received. And I put it like this, we're either going to do programs like this and put some thought, some money, some time into it, or we're going to pay for it later, because the suicide rate, the domestic violence, the drug and alcohol abuse, that's what's happening if we don't have effective programs to be able to offer.
We go through a 12-week course, Cultivating Success, through the WSU Extension Office. They help you find your path, a business plan.
I call it the big sifter. So we throw this idea in the top, we spend 12 weeks sifting it out, shaking it down, refining it, and in the end they come out with something that might be a business model or a business plan that might be bankable for them. That's the goal. For some of them, they'll be able to move on with that. For others, it may be that, you know what, that's not going to work. That's just not economically feasible. That's a good thing, that they can spend that 12 weeks figuring that out rather than actually try it and then have problems later on.
So the one thing that I really get out of this is helping other people find their way to grow and to transition, to find that direction that they need to be going. Being out here, and we love our customers.
It's been really fun interacting with all the people that come out to the farm stand, and they're all just kind of stoked on our products because we put a lot of love and effort into what we do out here, and it really is paying off.
We do want to make money, of course, but we want to be more of a part of the community, and that's what we get from a lot of our customers.
We're growing people, we're growing community, we're growing that ability for them to transition back into a civilian life again.
We all need a place that we come from. To our own garden is back where we will come.
If this helps one person find their self-worth, then it means everything to me.
Yeah, my own garden.
And with that, it's time to bring to a close this edition of Northwest Profiles and our 34th season. As always, if you'd like to learn more about the stories you've just seen, simply go online to ksps.org. Until we meet again, this is Lynn Veltri saying so long, and remember, here in the inland Northwest and Western Canada, adventure is all around waiting to be explored. So get out there, and when you do, take time to enjoy the view.